are watching Big 12 Now on ESPN+. We're in Morgantown, West Virginia, where the West Virginia Mountaineers look to solidify their NCAA tournament resume. They host the 11th-ranked Kansas State Wildcats. The Big 12 tournament starts next week. A K-State win today would give them the 2 seed. Many more possibilities for West Virginia. They could be anywhere from a 7 to 9 seed, depending upon today's outcome. Welcome inside WVU Coliseum alongside former Providence coach Tim Welsh. I'm James Westleen. Sellout crowd. Senior day for West Virginia. What do the Mountaineers have to do to get a win?
They play focused like they did at the end of the game against Iowa State, like they did in the second half against Kansas on the road where they fell a little bit short. But they've been playing better basketball as of late. Better defense, better organization on the offensive end. They're going to have to do it all today to beat this really good Kansas State team.
K-State is without guard Desi Sills today, who started the last 4 for the Wildcats. What will that mean for Keontae Johnson and Marquise Noel?
Well, Desi Sills helps Marquise Noel in the backcourt, but Marquise Noel doesn't need a lot of help because he handles the ball. He gets where he wants to go in the half court offensively. And Keontae Johnson is so explosive from the wing, from the baseline, from the high post, and really good defensively.
Sills attending a funeral. He did not travel with the team. On the other side, West Virginia guard Eric Stevenson. He's been on fire in his last 4 games.
Well, he has. He's played better in this building, but as of late, he's played better overall, better shot selection. Bob Huggins kind of lets him roam out there on the floor. He's got to make sure he takes care of the ball, though, against that pressure Kansas State defense.
West Virginia enters with a 17-13 mark. They are 6-11 in league play. They're seeking their 6th Quad 1 win. They have the 4th toughest schedule in the nation. 17 of their 30 games, coach, against Quad 1 teams.
Well, Bob Huggins will tell you they have one of the best schedules in the country, and they've proven that they can play with anybody in America. I think they're going to be in the tournament, but obviously they've still got some business to take care of, so they don't have any worries next Sunday.
Kansas State in the road purples. West Virginia wearing the gray uniforms here on Senior Day. Naquan Tomlin spinning and scoring for K-State, picking up where he left off. Had a 19-point performance against Oklahoma earlier this week.
He's got great footwork. You see him down low, and he doesn't need to post up because he can face. He can put the ball on the deck, and has good balance at the rim.
Tomlin fouled on the way up.
Well, one thing Bob Huggins, James, told you and I this morning is that we absolutely have to take care of the ball. You cannot be sloppy in the half court. They've got to be crisp with their passes, because if they throw loose passes in the half court, Kansas State will eat it up.
There's K-State Commander-in-Chief Jerome Tang. Needs just 5 more wins to have the best first-year head coaching season in K-State program history. Tomlin has all 3 to start things off for the Wildcats.
Tomlin is so fast. He's like a guard in the open court. Can handle the ball. He can finish at the rim in traffic, and great body balance.
Went 8 for 9 from the field against OU. Had 19 points in the Wildcats' 16-point win. Stevenson rises up. His first 3's off the mark, and it's out of bounds to Kansas State.
Tough shot by Stevenson. You know, that was a contested 3 on the wing.
Bob Huggins, 343 wins here in Morgantown in his 16th season. Has the 3rd most D1 wins of all time. What do you like most about his West Virginia team this year?
Well, a lot of interchangeable parts. They have good athletes. Obviously, when you've got Trey Mitchell up front along with Emmett Matthews, you can get out and defend out on the perimeter. They're going to have to do that today, especially with Keontae Johnson.
Minute gone by. K-State leads 4-0. David Gasson gets the start in place of Sills. Turns the corner, and he lays it home.
Gasson wants to get to that right hand. Both he and Tomlin are real strong off, putting the ball on the deck off the right hand. They've got to force him back to the left.
Cats have jumped out to a 6-0 lead, and quick hands, a deflection in front of the Wildcats bench. It'll stay on this end.
Well, one way to loosen this pressure is good ball movement from side to side. Use your dribble handoffs, but they've got to try to attack. They can't go east-west. They've got to try to get the ball into the lane, try to get it to the rim.
We're 90 seconds in, and a jump ball forced by Marquise Noel. Those quick, strong hands. He had 7 steals the first time these 2 teams met.
You cannot put the ball right in front of his face, because he will do just that. It's like stealing your lunch. He will take it away from you.
Adrian Johnson Tap out. Keontae has it for K-State. Johnson fuels the break. Barrels into traffic. No whistle. Whistle and a walk called on Trey Mitchell. First West Virginia turnover.
Well, that's what K-State's defense does to you, James. It makes you speed up a little bit. They get up in you. They've got such good athletes, good quickness, and fundamentals on the defensive side of the ball that they give each other help. They don't, though, they do not gamble. They do not over-gamble, but they really attack you with pressure.
K-State's top 3 in this conference in field goal percentage defense, and they lead the league in three-point field goal percentage D. Keontae Johnson, the dip. And he gets the friendly bounce, and K-State has our game's first 8 points.
And a quick timeout by Bob Huggins needs to discuss, especially on the offensive end, what they need to do to get the ball to the rim cleanly.
6 of K-State's 8 points coming in the paint. They've jumped out to a 8-0 lead with 17:47 left in this first half of action.
Well, that time Keontae Johnson took Emmett Matthews right off the dribble, off the deck. He had some space, and you know, one thing you have to do when you're guarding Keontae Johnson, you cannot let him get ahead of steam. You cannot not let him catch the ball in an area where he's comfortable. Obviously, you got to give him get up in him because he is a capable three-point shooter. But if you do get up in him, the help's got to come a lot sooner. He got all the way to the rim from almost the three-point line.
K-State's coming off an 85-69 win over Oklahoma on Senior Night Wednesday. Cats lead at 8-0, but just in terms of generalities, what do you like most about this K-State team?
Well, there's a lot to like, and I was talking to Jerome Tang last night a lot about his basketball team, and he just says, you know, we're unselfish. You know, they've picked up the system quickly. They come to work every other day, and they keep getting better, not only game to game, but week to week and month to month. This team keeps improving.
It looked like maybe K-State hit a wall mid-February with back-to-back losses to Tech and Oklahoma. Since then, they've rattled off 4 straight wins.
Now, this pressure is really bothering West Virginia. If this continues, look for Bob Huggins to go to a smaller lineup.
Johnson drills the corner 3, and West Virginia on the board. It comes over 2.5 minutes deep into the contest.
It's the first time they were able to penetrate into the gaps. That time they found the open man after penetration.
Johnson's rebuttal hits the dot from the top.
Can't overhelp on the wing, and that time they left Johnson wide open. He just took his time at the top and nailed it.
3 minutes into this contest, and Kansas State leads 11-3. Mitchell, an easy one at the iron.
The toughest thing to do against this defense is the first 2 passes. Once you get the first 2 passes into your offense going, then the defense will take a half step back, and then you can attack.
Johnson, a heat check. That one's short, and Stevenson clears. Stevenson got it.
Eric Stevenson, that's where he's at his best. When he doesn't rush the shot, not under duress, took his time, lined it up.
Averaging 25 per game in his last 4. Backdoor, and Cam Carter has a layup for the purple.
Well, Eric Stevenson was overplaying on the wing and just turned his head for a half second. Carter, good realization that the back door was available.
Nearly 4 minutes elapsed in this first session. Stevenson, that's blocked by Carter. Lead pass to Cam, has to try to track it down, and it goes back to the Mountaineers. K-State with their first blunder.
There's a timeout on the floor.
13-8, K-State on top at our first media timeout here in Morgantown, West Virginia. Welcome back inside WVU Coliseum. We have another full day of college basketball today over on ESPN and the app. We're highlighting 3 games. The top teams of the Big 12 square off at 4 Eastern, 3 Central, with number 9 Texas hosting number 3 Kansas. Then it's Duke in North Carolina at 10 Eastern. And then number 4 UCLA hosts number 8 Arizona.
May have to stay up for that one, James. It's past my bedtime, but Arizona UCLA will keep me awake for sure. A lot of high-powered offense.
That's the late one. It's Duke, North Carolina at 6:30 Eastern. But look at this KU-Texas matchup. Last time these teams squared off, KU was number 9 at the time. Texas was number 5. Now they've flipped the script.
Lost a little bit of its pop because of the fact Texas lost the other night and Kansas has the outright title. Would have loved to see that today, a battle for the Big 12 championship. But having said that, I'm going to watch it anyway because it could be a preview of next weekend's championship in the Big 12 and maybe even a Final Four meeting as well.
So we're 4 minutes and change into this one, 13-8. Both teams shooting the cover off the ball. K-State at 71%, West Virginia at 50%. What's working offensively?
Well, West Virginia is starting to get a little bit more comfortable against this pressure. You must cut hard against it. That's the one thing, and you make crisp, short passes north and south.
K-State's brought in Ish Massoud, and Stevenson drills it.
Well, that's one thing where Stevenson, he can get his shots if he gets a little bit of space, because at that height, 6'4", he can shoot over the smaller Kansas State guards.
Massoud is 6'9", and he was on Stevenson, but Stevenson with such a quick rise and a quick trigger. Massoud lost it. Stevenson, lead pass, Matthews with the left, he sticks it.
It's got to start with their defense as well. That now West Virginia's defense giving K-State a little bit of a problem.
Noel struggling, loose ball in front of us, and it'll go to the Mountaineers. K-State's third turnover.
West Virginia's defense at times this year has been inconsistent, as Bob Huggins will tell you, but they are locked in right now after some struggles early, and getting out in transition is a must against K-State because they're so hard to score against in the half court.
West Virginia looking for their first lead. K-State led 8-0. Bell, corner three, Mitchell in and out. No, but the stuff on the follow. Matthews gets up high.
Well, Emmett Matthews, a fan favorite here in Morgantown, and that's why he does the little things, the scrappy things, the hard helmet things to help you win.
K-State looks flustered offensively.
They're going to settle down, maybe get into the pick and roll game, try to free up Marquise Noel, because right now Kedrian Johnson's doing a nice job on Noel out of the top and kind of taking away his angles, not allowing him to get into the pick and roll game.
West Virginia has scored the last 6. Noel probing, 8 to shoot. Massoud a long way from the cup, has to hoist, and he gets it down.
That was good defense as well. Trey Mitchell was right up in him, kind of out of desperation. Good recognition, though, by Massoud, understanding the clock was winding down.
Foul called on K-State's Marquise Noel. Our crew here today, John Higgins, Antonio Petty, and Brooks Wells.
Team's first.
And they will call that on Eziola. That's his first. So Noel still without a foul. Change the call. Matthews, an air ball. K-State collects it.
Bell's doing a good job in the middle of that offense, finding the open man. That time, though, Matthews kind of rushed the shot.
Hard pass. Eziola, tough catch. Claimed by Trey Mitchell.
Good job by West Virginia getting the ball out of Noel's hand. With that ball screen at the top, they pushed him sideline and sent the secondary defender.
Runner. Offensive rebound. Stevenson. Johnson there to snatch it away for K-State. He wants to push tempo. Johnson hits it. The pull-up from Keontae Johnson. Yeah, he's got 7.
Looked like his pivot foot slipped a little bit. Got away with a travel.
West Virginia with their 3rd turnover. Here comes James Okonkwo, who didn't play in the first matchup with Kansas State. Has a team-high 19 blocks, has really elevated his play.
Okonkwo was vital the other night and all season long defensively.
The lob in the flush from Keontae Johnson.
That's where Keontae Johnson and Marquise Noel are so dangerous. That 1-2 punch. First Noel dribble drives into the gap, his head up, never saw anything else except the flying Johnson coming in from the baseline.
Already the third assist for Marquise Noel. Leads the league at almost 8 per game. Foul called on the floor.
Kansas State foul on 25.
It'll be on Masood, his first. K-State's on a 7-0 run. What do you like from the Wildcats during this stretch?
Well, they stay with it. They stay the course. And, you know, they are who they are. They're a real good basketball team. They're not going to be flustered by this crowd or anything else that's going on. I mean, obviously, they got to try to figure out who's going to get the minutes of Desi Sills. And not sure what the call is right now, but I think John Higgins is K-State's calling timeout.
I believe Keontae Johnson might have some blood. So they'll take a look at him.
Marquise Noel, they change of direction. Hard to slow down in that pick and roll game. And Johnson.
K-State forward Keontae Johnson averaging over 19 points per game in his last 3. Coach, he already has 9 today.
If you ask me what position he played, I couldn't tell you because he's all over the court. He can do anything he wants from all different spots on the floor. He can shoot the ball. He's good at putting it on the deck, creating a little space. He can play the power game at the rim. He moves without the basketball and plays with power, skill, athleticism, and really intelligence.
K-State leads by 6. They're 8 of 11 from the field, 72.7%. Johnson's 4 for 6, has 2 rebounds. And to your point, he can catch it and he can score it just about anywhere on the floor. So how do you defend that if you're West Virginia?
Well, you've got to make him catch the ball a little bit farther out on the floor, and that's easier said than done because he does a great job of moving without the ball, and he's hard to defend on the wing because he is so strong. He uses his body to get open.
Trap in the corner. Stevenson's in trouble, and K-State with a steal. Eziola has it. Johnson powers to the rim, flips it up, collects his own miss, can't score. Masood lets it rip, and he cans it, and K-State leads by 8.
No, you can't give K-State that many opportunities. They're just too good, but they're physical inside. West Virginia's got to get some help from the guards during that scrum up on the backboards.
Cats are on a 9-0 run. West Virginia hasn't scored at almost 3 minutes. Who do you go to on this end?
Well, I think you just have to run your stuff. I'd like to see him go to Trey Mitchell because of the fact that he gets his touches, but they don't run a lot for him, but he has been very good offensively as of late.
Naquan Tomlin picks up the foul. That's his first and the third team foul in this session. West Virginia hasn't scored in over 3 minutes. Mitchell had it jarred loose by Noel, and he saves it to a teammate.
He was trying to pass out of the trap, but he took a dribble, and Noel said, "No, thank you. My hands are too quick."
5th West Virginia turnover. Noel, top of the key 3. K-State's been able to take this sellout crowd out of it early on. Johnson dishes. And a foul called on Toussaint, reaching in on Masood.
K-State closes the door, James, so quickly. And what I mean by that is when you drive into the gap, the help comes, but there's also helping the helper. Everybody's rotating down on the backside. There you see Toussaint with the reach in.
K-State's matched its largest lead. Deflection and a steal, Okonkwo. Toussaint transition 3, short.
Good job by Johnson not rushing the issue.
Open look. Too strong from Mitchell. Stays on this end with the Mountaineers.
Trey Mitchell looks like he's just rushing his threes just a touch, and that's what K-State's defense does to you. They, even after an offensive rebound, when you pitch it back out to the line, they close out really hard.
West Virginia out-rebounded K-State 50-36 in that first matchup, a K-State win in overtime. today. The Cats winning the boards 7-6. Noel in the open floor, lead past Carter. K-State leads by 10.
Just way too much dribbling by Toussaint. You cannot beat this team with dribbling and everybody watching you dribble in place. That ball's got to move from side to side with the pass.
K-State's defense leading to offense. They had a season-high 24 fast break points against Oklahoma on Wednesday. Finally, West Virginia ends the drought as Matthews knocks it down.
That's a good move by Matthews, coming from the weak side, just flashing into the middle of the floor. That's what you have to do, have space the court and have ball movement and player movement coming from the weak side.
Shot clock into single digits. Carter against Johnson, rises up. Off the heel. Mitchell claims it for West Virginia. Adrian Johnson, quick three, short. Tap out, Gasson able to track it down. The big loses the handle.
Gasson never got control.
Okonkwo, he has it wrenched loose. Johnson, showtime!
Goodness. Marquise Noel was in there with the trees. I couldn't even see him. He just was in there. All you could see was those quick hands ready to pickpocket and send it the other way. What defense?
Could you ask for a better start if you're K-State?
No, you couldn't. I mean, as you said, and we talked about early, defense travels, and that's why K-State has been good all season long. And the turnovers are coming because they are so active with their hands. They put good pressure on the basketball. Don't throw loose passes. Don't dribble in traffic, because if you do, this man, number one, will take your lunch and go spend it somewhere else.
Noel has 5 assists, a couple of steals. He hasn't scored, but he hasn't had to. K-State's on a 13-2 run over the last 5-11. That last foul was called on Tyke Green for the Wildcats. It puts Mitchell at the line.
Well, you've got to catch the ball in the offense, on the offensive end if you're West Virginia, and make a quick decision. Either you're going to make a quick pass, you're going to take a shot, or take a quick dribble into the gap. But you can't stand and try to evaluate what the defense is doing, because that's when the defense will really smother you.
Mountaineers have turned it over 5 times in the last 5 and change. K-State shooting 61% from the field. Toussaint picks the pocket of Noel. K-State gets it back, and Carter's headed in for a slam.
I don't know what happened there. Toussaint made a heck of a play, kind of returned the favor on Noel, but just was a little loose with the pass and rushed the issue. Bob Huggins not happy. He thinks Noel's been poking at his guards all day long. Here, Noel crosses over Toussaint, but Bob Huggins thought that Noel fell on top of Toussaint, which he did. A foul should have been called in that situation.
West Virginia's just 2 for 10 from downtown, coach. Their last 5 home games, they've shot 42% as a team. Why is it so tough for them to get off clean threes?
Well, because they can't get anything clean. K-State's so quick on the perimeter, and they get out, and on the catch, they're right in your face.
Turnaround, half hook goes. Sumnick with the basket.
Well, Sumnick, good job on the inside, just creating a little space, step back, and a little jump hook over the top.
Carter navigates. Tomlin down low, blocked at the rim. Crowd is back into it. Matthews, scooper, it'll sweep in.
Good job by Matthews. After the K-State, I guess it was a flop. Somebody went to the floor, should have been called.
Carter. A foul called on Toussaint. And that is his second foul, coming off a 19-point effort against Iowa State. He was the difference in that one, according to Coach Huggins.
Now, Sumnick, you got to make sure you create a little space, because they get up on you quickly, and good power. Nice touch in the lane for the big fella.
Welcome back to Morgantown, West Virginia, WVU Coliseum, alongside former Providence coach Tim Welsh. I'm James Westleen. K-State's carved out a 6-point lead. Here's a look at the most up-to-date Big 12 standings. Iowa State, their first game without star guard Caleb Grill, who parted ways with the program earlier this week. They go at Baylor. Coach, they won by 15, 73-58.
You know, this is such a weird league. It's so good, it's weird, because of the fact that you'd never think that Iowa State could go in there without Caleb Grill. They've been in a big downward spiral as of late. Really struggled to score, and today they found their way. And this is what T.J. Otzenberger does. You know, he teaches defense first, and when the defense is on point, then the offense really clicks.
And K-State has the tiebreaker with Texas. So a win here, regardless of what happens in that Texas-KU game, K-State will be the 2 seed next week in Kansas City at the Big 12 tournament. Noel has not scored. He's only taken 1 shot. He's got 5 assists and a couple of steals. The All-League PG has it denied. Matthews soars in, and he scores.
Really good job on the defense. And then Trey Mitchell. And West Virginia's defense starting to step up.
That's the 6th K-State blunder. West Virginia's on a 6-0 burst. What's different about this stretch for the Mountaineers?
Well, they're playing defense. I mean, Trey Mitchell, you'll see it right here, just comes over from the help side. Good read. Well, a little off balance. Probably should have taken another dribble to get all the way to the rim and maybe draw a foul from Mitchell.
Johnson burrows, and he lost it on the way up. Out of bounds to Kansas State.
Yeah, that's the tough thing about going against Marquise Noel. I mean, you can maybe get a little bit of a half step on him, but he's so quick and so strong. He gets into your body without fouling.
He fills up the stat sheet offensively, but would you say that maybe the most underrated part of his game is his on-ball defense?
His on-ball defense is terrific, and he and Keandre Johnson are going at it, toe-to-toe, forearm to forearm, right to the chest.
Johnson's 3 is good. Already 14 for Keontae Johnson.
Well, somebody got caught ball watching and forgot that he was defending Keontae Johnson. You can't do that. You have to know where the ball is, but stay close enough to him on the perimeter. When he does catch it, you can close him out quickly.
Stays with the Mountaineers on this end, and keep in mind K-State's without guard Desi Sills, who was inserted into the starting lineup 4 games ago. K-State.
Here you see Sumnick drives in, and he just got caught in no man's land. He's 3 or 4 steps off Johnson. You cannot overhelp when you're defending him.
Wildcats have won 4 in a row with Sills in the starting lineup. He's attending a funeral of a family member today as Stevenson knocks it down from the outside. That's his second 3. He has 8.
Now Jerome Tang is saying the same thing to Naquan Tomlin, like, you got to get close to him on the perimeter. You cannot just take 2 steps into the lane.
Green. Tomlin knifing. Contact, whistle, offensive foul, and that's the 2nd foul issued to Naquan Tomlin.
That's an interesting call by Antonio Petty. He's a center official, and John Higgins is right there in the lane. Looks like a good call, though. Good job by Stevenson, just on the retreat, although I think his heel might have been on that restricted circle. Restricted area. It looked like his heel may have been there, but that's why it's so hard for that center official to make that call. He doesn't have a good angle on that play.
Johnson got it down. West Virginia's made 5 straight shots. Gasson over the top. Throws it away. Johnson attacks. Follow is good. Emmett Matthews Jr. with the bucket.
K-State's got to slow themselves down in the half court a little bit. They're rushing their stuff, and Jerome Tang sees it, knows it, wants to discuss.
West Virginia is on a 7-0 run. A 13-3 extended burst, and they've tied the game at 31.
Well, it starts with their defense, and they've really disrupted K-State in the last few possessions, and this is what they want to do. It's easier said than done, but when they do get a steal, they must push it because want to try to score as many times you can in transition because playing against their half-court defense is much more difficult.
What's West Virginia doing to turn over K-State? K-State's up to 8 turnovers.
They're kind of giving K-State a case of their own medicine. They really are really good on-ball pressure. Kedrian Johnson is an underrated defender. He's doing a good job on Noel. Noel's being a little frustrated. K-State doesn't have really great spacing now, and they're getting out and denying, and everybody's in the stance. They're playing as one. They're really locked in on this end of the floor.
Kedrian Johnson, the West Virginia point guard, and Marquise Noel for Kansas State. Maybe pound for pound, the 2 toughest point guards in this league.
Well, you can feel the heat. They're like 2 boxers, lightweight boxers. They're going at each other. They are playing so hard.
Marquise Noel hasn't scored, but he's dished out 5 assists and has a pair of steals. What do you look to here if you're K-State?
Well, you got to go try to get Kenyatta Johnson involved. I mean, Emmett Matthews is doing a good job on him, but see, that's a quick shot.
Masood, wide left. West Virginia can take their first lead. Blocking foul called on Kansas State.
I can tell you one thing, James, that I know is gospel truth, is that when you drive to the rim today, you better expect this. A car crash at the rim, because on both ends of the floor, both teams are doing a really good job of rotating and protecting and basically saying, no layups today.
And that was Ish Masood in the halo. He picks up the foul, his second. Naquan Tomlin saddled on the bench with 2 fouls for K-State for the final 4.5 minutes of this first session. That was the 7th foul on the Wildcats, and Kedrian Johnson gets the back end.
Well, Johnson averages 11 points a game, but he's being very, very aggressive, looking for his own shot today. And I like it because he's putting pressure on Marquise Noel to get out and defend himself.
He's up to 7 points. West Virginia has just their 2nd lead. Johnson off the mark for K-State. Strong hands, sweet pass, and the hammer from Green, the assist Noel.
Now you can't relax until you get the ball in the hole. Johnson's just doing that.
Johnson's up to 9. +1 headed to the line. He can get to double figures in this first half. Fouls on Tyke Green. That's the 8th on K-State, his 2nd.
Well, obviously, you get a rebound, and the play's not over until you advance the ball up the court. But here comes West Virginia again, and Kedrian Johnson has been real good on the offensive end on the attack.
Free throw swirls out. These teams opened Big 12 play against one another. K-State won it in overtime, 82-76. West Virginia led by 11 at the half. A collision and a foul called on Kobe Johnson of West Virginia. Only their 4th in this first half. It'll send us to a break. West Virginia leads by 2, 35-33.
Number 4 against the Mountain.
Both teams over 50% from the field. A lot of offense in this one. Coach, take us through this first half for Emmett Matthews Jr. Already has a dozen.
Well, he has done a lot of different things. He's so long and athletic, moves well without the ball, can make things happen even in traffic because of his length and his ability to elevate and finish at the rim. But he's also doing a really good job. He's been matched up with Kenyatta Johnson, and 2 really good forwards right there. And it's going to be hard to stop both of them, but the effort on the defensive end in the last few possessions by West Virginia has been special.
Emmett Matthews Jr. started his career at West Virginia, transferred back home to Washington, then came back. He had a couple of really key plays down the stretch in that big win over Iowa State, which really holds a lot of weight now when you look at what Iowa State did today winning at Baylor.
Well, Jimmy Bell was out with the injury, and then Trey Mitchell got the flagrant 2, so they were down to playing Emmett Matthews at the big man spot, and as you said, he had the 2 huge blocks down the stretch for Bob Huggins.
9 to shoot for K-State. Stevenson plucks it. Pulls the trigger. Keontae Johnson is fouled underneath. Kedrian Johnson reaches in.
That was a real good defensive play by Eric Stevenson. On the retreat there, he just stopped at the line, was balanced, was wide open, just couldn't lock it in.
Stevenson has 8 for West Virginia, 2 for 6 from downtown. Run and jump against Noel. Gasson gets it down.
West Virginia trapped the ball screen on the wing, but nobody rotated on the backside, and they never closed the trap, which allowed them to find a free man in Gasson at the rim.
That ball wandered around the rim. Stevenson lost it momentarily, and West Virginia turns it over. That's their 10th already in this first half, and K-State points off those turnovers up to 17 for the Wildcats.
Well, I don't know why they're dribbling the ball down in the corner. They need to get it out of there. They had 2 or 3 players all in one spot, and now they're not ready to play defense on the other end.
Noel resets for the purple. Still scoreless. Up to 6 assists though. Terminates. Needs some help. Finds Gasson. Timer into single digits. Long 3, Johnson. Stevenson and Green. Late whistle and a jump ball.
That was the delay of delays. Not sure what they were looking for down there. I was waiting for somebody to secure the ball. Stevenson was out of bounds. They didn't call that. The official's right on the call. And he gets fouled. It's just, you need to clean that up immediately, and they didn't.
Should have been a foul there?
Should have been a foul. First of all, though, Stevenson's hand hit the line when he had possession of the ball. It should have been K-State ball when he touched the line. Watch right here as Stevenson just goes to get in on the play. He's got his leg, and then his hand's out of bounds.
K-State ball. Carter. Hard foul. If it's on Stevenson, that's his second.
Well, again, we mentioned it earlier. Not sure why that's on Stevenson. Carter just backs up into him, but you better be on your toes to officiate this game today, because whenever the ball goes in the paint, there's going to be 4 or 5 guys around it. 4 or 5 strong, physical athletes.
With what's at stake today for both these clubs, the way they're coached, their physicality, we had a feeling. Carter, stuffed. Matthews, Johnson, that's an air ball. Lead pass, Keontae Johnson. Scores it at the rim, he's up to 16.
No, probably was too quick a shot for Kedrian Johnson down in the corner, and obviously you fire up an air ball from the corner from your point guard, you're not going to have backcourt balance, and that's where K-State took advantage.
What a pass by Marquise Noel, a bomb. He's up to 7 assists. Not even a halftime yet. Johnson hammers at Marquise. Noel centers it for the Wildcats, directing traffic. Bullets corner. 3, Johnson off the heel. Kobe Johnson fuels it for West Virginia. Closing in on a minute left in this first stanza. That'll be the 3rd foul issued to Ish Massoud.
So anytime your point guard drives into the lane or goes down to the baseline or takes a shot at the baseline, someone has to rotate back from the weak side. No one does. Everyone's crashing the board, and that allowed Keontae Johnson to beat everyone down court.
Seth Wilson has entered the lineup for West Virginia, his first action today. He's a 3-point specialist for the Mountaineers. Second on the team with 32 threes. Where's number 14? Adrian Johnson's at the line, where he's 82% for the season. hits the front end of the bonus. He's up to 10. He's been hunting his shot, coach. He's attempted 10 field goals in this first half.
I don't mind if I'm Bob Huggins, because you have to put pressure on Noel. You cannot just stand around out there. So Noel's pressuring him so hard. You've got to try to get the ball into the paint, draw some help, or if the help doesn't come, take it yourself to the rim.
Johnson hits them both. Knocks the score at 37. West Virginia, they got those free throws, but they don't have any field goals for the last 3 minutes plus.
The side ball screen probably coming. Misdirection, Noel will go to him on the weak side.
Noel. Johnson 2-on-1. Misses the gimme. Green recovers for K-State with 45 seconds left in this first half. 2-on-1. Kedrine, another miss, and the tip in from Matthews Jr.
Great aggression by Johnson. He's got to be ready to throw that bounce pass to Matthews, draw the defender, and then dip it off. But how can you say anything negative about him? He is just playing his heart out today on the defensive end.
14,000 strong on their feet. Noel roars in. Wilson has it for the Mountaineers, and he throws it to nobody in particular. He wanted Kobe Johnson streaking to the rim.
He had beat everyone out of the pack, and it was 3-on-1, and that's where you just have to slow down and let the defense make the first mistake. Instead, Wilson made the error.
10 seconds left. Is it Keontae Johnson time for K-State?
No, it's probably Marquise Noel, and what Jerome Tang will try to do here is let Noel probe and find out what he can do. It's going to be a high middle ball screen. Let Noel try to get into the middle of the lane.
Carter, 2 seconds. Cam Carter has to let it go, and it's an air ball. And West Virginia takes a lead into the locker room. They have barely led in this first half, but they'll have the mark at intermission.
Emmett Matthews has had his hands full guarding Keontae Johnson. They've gone at it all day long, but this team, both teams on the attack. Don't be loose with the dribble, or else you'll feel bad about it.
It's a bloodbath here in Morgantown, West Virginia. Mountaineers by 2. West Virginia on top of Kansas State, 39-37 at intermission here in Morgantown, West Virginia. Welcome back inside WVU Coliseum alongside former Providence coach Tim Welsh. I'm James Westling. A 2-point game at the break, coach. If this second half is as physical as the first 20 minutes were, who has the edge?
I'm not sure, but I think West Virginia does, because of the fact the home crowd, I think, is giving a little extra juice. But K-State's got to find a way to get Marquise Noel going. Kedrine Johnson's doing a nice job. His size has been bothering him, but Keontae Johnson has picked up the pace. There's no doubt about it. But, you know, both teams are real good basketball teams. West Virginia has shown in the first half they can play toe-to-toe with anybody in this league, but, you know, they're going to have to play better than that in the second half to beat a real good K-State team.
Keontae Johnson having an all-Big 12 type season for Kansas State. He leads the Wildcats in all scores with 16 at the break. What'd you like most about his first half effort?
I like that he does what he does out there on the floor. He kind of takes what the defense gives him. If they're going to overhelp into the paint, he'll slide out to the perimeter, knock down shots, take his time. He's good on the interior. We know that. He can run the floor. He's a real good on-ball defender. He can guard multiple positions, but he's so physical off the bounce. K-State's got to do a better job maybe at giving him a little bit more space to operate in the half court. And then for West Virginia, they've done a nice job of getting in rhythm. After they kind of took that first body blow at the beginning of this game and they weren't really ready for the K-State pressure, they adjusted and then infused their own pressure on K-State as well.
Emmett Matthews Jr. with a West Virginia high 14 on 7 of 9 shooting, very efficient.
Well, he and Keontae Johnson are having a great duel, and he's played 20 minutes. Kedrine Johnson has not come out of the game either, and he's really forced Marquise Noel into some tough shots, and that size at 6'3" has bothered Noel. Noel has the 7 assists, but he also and 5 steals, but he also has 5 turnovers.
There's the points off turnovers, 17-12 in favor of K-State. Both teams shooting the ball pretty well, but Each team with a dozen turnovers, 24 combined in that first half. And to your point, Marquise Noel, 0 for 3 from the field. He's only taken 3 shots. What's been so bothersome from that West Virginia defense?
Well, Kedrian Johnson has taken upon himself to say, I have him today. I have him, coach. Don't worry about it. You worry about the other 4 guys. I'm going to get up in him and force the issue, and he's done that.
Noel with 7 assists. He does have 5 turnovers, a couple of steals, has not scored. There's his season numbers. In Big 12 play, they're even better, averaging almost 20 points per game. He had 23 points, 10 assists, and 7 steals in the first meeting between these two clubs. We showed you those K-State throwbacks during the half. He has the most points by any Division I transfer outside of Denny Clemente, who was on that 2010 team with Jacob Poland and company that went to the Elite Eight.
West Virginia basketball. Let's start the second half.
K-State with a steal on their first defensive possession. West Virginia gets it right back, in a foul call on Gasson of Kansas State.
Well, after that disjointed half-court possession by West Virginia and the steal, Eric Stevenson did a really good job of getting back and forcing the turnover to save West Virginia from another easy opportunity.
Mountaineers held 3 short leads in that first half, including this 2-point advantage at the break. Stevenson finally gets on track.
Good job by Bob Huggins. They misdirected. They sent Stevenson through on the baseline, a little pin-down screen, and they closed him out, but he showed the ball, stepped back, banged it.
He hadn't scored in a while, shooting 56% in his last 5 games here at home from 3-point range. Tomlin stumbling. Carter lets it rip. Gasson up high, blocked, but a foul called on Jimmy Bell Jr.
K-State is very difficult to block out because look at Tomlin, look at Gasson, these guys that are long and athletic, and they rebound very well from out of their position. They'll come from the wing, they'll come from that short baseline, and they just attack and can get rebounds out of their area.
Gasson 47% from the foul line this year. Splits the pair to draw K-State to within 4. 3 Mountaineers in double figures. Kedrian Johnson, Emmett Matthews Jr., and Eric Stevenson. Just 1 Wildcat, Keontae Johnson. Kedrian. It'll stay on this end with the Mountaineers.
Just kind of tried to force the issue on that possession. He's fortunate that he didn't lose the ball because Noel was right there, step for step.
West Virginia trying to build on their NCAA resume. They're 6-11 in league play. Stevenson's runner, high arcing and through.
Great job. He just took his time. He didn't force the issue. He was on balance, on point, and at 6'4", elevated over the top.
Gasson nearly throws it away. Noel from the logo. Buckets. First points of the game for Marquise Noel.
He looked, and he decided to tee it up. He said, I think he glanced over at Jerome Tang and gave him a quick little thumbs up. Let's go.
Makes it a 1-possession deficit early minutes of this second half. Matthews flying and slamming it home.
Emmett Matthews, it looks like he takes off too soon, but he just kind of glides right to the rim.
Noel hunting, miss. Out to Carter, wide open. Sprays right. Tomlin throws it to a Mountaineer. Here comes Johnson, and a foul on K-State. This will put him at the line for 2.
Kansas State foul.
Fouls on Cam Carter.
Cam Carter, his first, team's second.
We talked about Emmett Matthews and his ability to defend, but he has been good on the offensive end as well, and this is impossible to defend.
Kedrian Johnson at the line. He has 11. West Virginia, I brought up their record in Big 12 play a moment ago. They're 6-11 in league. No Big 12 team has ever made the NCAA tournament with a 6-12 regular season Big 12 record. There have been 2 7-11 instances, but win or lose, West Virginia could be the first.
Well, I don't think you can look at any of the previous records and compare it to this year just because of the top to bottom difficulty of this league. And you look at the numbers, they're historic. They're the best numbers that any conference has had in over 20 years.
We're going to talk about a tough schedule. 17 of West Virginia's 30 games this year have been quad 1 opponents. More than half. Ten to shoot for Marquise Noel. Crosses up Johnson. Floaters long. Back to him. Tries to power it up. Stays on this end with the Wildcats.
Marquise Noel, you can't even see him in there. Somehow he secured the rebound, and then he looked up, and there was Jimmy Bell at 6'10", 285. He tried to pop it over the top, but he ran into his chest.
Noel, open look from the corner, splashes it in.
Bob Huggins wanted a moving screen that freed up Noel on the wing. I'm not sure he's incorrect. It looked like Noel was freed up with some movement.
2 second-half threes for Noel after he went 0 in the first half, and a foul off the ball called on K-State's Cam Carter.
Kansas State foul called at number 4.
That's his second.
And here you see on the move, it's a moving screen. Absolutely. That's Gasson just takes out Eric Stevenson. That's an easy call.
Stevenson halfway down and out.
Get it. How you can miss that call as an official. You're standing right in front of the play. Clearly a moving screen, but Antonio Petty must have been looking elsewhere.
Iziola checks in for K-State here at the dead ball. This has been a tough game to officiate. You brought that up earlier.
Oh, there's no doubt about it, but those calls are easy.
Right.
They're out in open space, and they're right in front of you.
Out of bounds. Stays on this end with K-State. West Virginia with suffocating defense. Fans wanted to walk.
It's hard to get 13,000 people to agree on anything in life, but here, when you're inside this building, that usually happens.
Noel almost had another three. Looked good from here. Offensive rebound, Green. Ish Massoud tees it up. That's an air ball. Noel can't run it down.
Well, West Virginia's doing a really good job of recovering on these offensive rebounds or ball saves on the outside. K-State seemingly has an open man on the three-point line, but West Virginia has been doing a good job of closing out and contesting.
Stevenson double, funnels it. Bell met at the rim and fouled by Iziola.
A good look by Eric Stevenson. He felt the pressure on the outside and went right inside the big fella, Bell.
They'll call that on Tyke Green. That's his 4th foul.
Jimmy Bell's got a big body, but he's got quick feet, good hands, and toughness at the rim.
Alongside former Providence head coach Tim Welsh, I'm James Westling. West Virginia by 4. And coach, West Virginia started 0-5 in league play, 6-4 since. What's been different about the Mountaineers?
Well, they've been able to handle the pressure. They're doing a good job on the offensive end of attacking and getting the ball down to the baseline and not turning it over this half. You know, we spoke about both teams with 12 turnovers at half, and Keontae Johnson has not been involved in the second half, but you must pay attention to him. He is one of the premier players, not only in the Big 12, but in the country. And he just, Jerome Tang does a nice job of moving him around out on the perimeter and when needed down on the baseline and in the paint.
West Virginia basketball. Stevenson, the trigger man. Gets it back, blows by Masood, stuffed at the rim by Bebe.
Well, that help side K-State defense attacks from the weak side, and they meet you usually outside the lane to protect.
Noel's hit a couple of threes in this half, 10 to shoot. Keontae Johnson with 5 on the timer. Follow no. Shot clock violation. And Keontae Johnson hasn't scored for K-State since the minute 58 mark of the first half. He's been stuck on 16.
Well, they're doing a much better job with him when he drives into the lane. And that time Johnson got into the lane, but the help came from the weak side and closed the door quickly.
K-State's missed 8 of their last 9 shots. Matthews feathers it home. 18 for Emmett Matthews Jr. on senior night.
Well, he has been overly aggressive, but taking shots within the context of the offense, but that length has really helped him elevate when he gets in the lane.
Nearly had a steal. Noel fires, drills it from the outside. That's his 3rd 3 in this half.
Well, that's not much. There's not much you can do with that. He backs up. You think he's too deep, but he's not.
Mitchell wants 3. Has it from the corner.
Good recognition that Trey Mitchell was on the weak side. His man was in help position in the paint. He doesn't need much room at 6'9" to knock it down.
Johnson, blocking foul. Wipe off the basket. It's on the floor. Let's go back to that last basket.
East Noel. We saw it earlier in this game, and Johnson does a great job of securing the loose ball, and Stevenson needs to get up a little bit tighter. See Stevenson with good recognition that Mitchell was on the weak side wide open, and Masood got caught ball watching.
West Virginia caught ball watching. K-State with a dunk.
The seas parted, and Tomlin saw an alleyway to the rim and took advantage.
4-point game. Stevenson against Noel. Stevenson gets the better end.
That's a matchup that Stevenson likes if he can create space. That time Noel backed up just a touch. Stevenson created the space at 6'4", shot over the top.
He's up to 15. Carter. And a foul called on West Virginia's Trey Mitchell, who got tangled up with Cam and grabbed a fistful of his jersey on the way down.
Well, you don't expect anything less when you drive into the paint, except for this possession. No one was around. A miscommunication on that screen on the baseline out of bounds, and K-State took advantage. But West Virginia is doing just a good job of keeping their composure, and that time Carter did a good job of being physical, driving to the rim, drawing a foul.
Carter's up to 7 for the Wildcats. Foul was on Trey Mitchell, his first. 3rd foul on West Virginia in this half, and Carter knocks them both down. West Virginia is shooting 75%, coach. They're 6 for 8 on offense to start this half.
Well, Jerome Tang has switched it up a little bit in this half, and he's got Cam Carter defending Kedrian Johnson and Noel guarding Eric Stevenson.
Quick hands by Carter. Pokes it out of bounds. West Virginia's won 3 in a row in the series here in Morgantown. K-State won the first matchup in the Little Apple in overtime, 82-76. These teams opened Big 12 play against one another, and now they close the regular season campaign against each other. Mitchell. An alley to the rim. Double-fisted dunk.
Trey Mitchell, I think K-State was anticipating a handoff, and they faked the handoff, and once again, everybody was on the perimeter, and Mitchell showing his skill level at 6'9", being able to put the ball on the deck and finish.
Carter can't score it. West Virginia on the break. Johnson lays it in. Mountaineers lead by 8.
Got 2 players on the decks. The officials don't see it. Finally, they do. Is Cam Carter and Emmett Matthews with a big collision at the rim.
Largest West Virginia lead of the contest. They pushed it to 8, 59-51.
Cam Carter bounced up pretty good. He was tangled with Matthews, but Carter ran it off. But Matthews is a little bit banged up, and watch this collision. Believe it or not, if you're just tuning in, there was no foul call.
They're letting them play here in Morgantown. It's March. Noel fires. West Virginia with their largest lead and the ball. Stevenson a heat check. Hofer's out. Tomlin has it for K-State. Wildcats are without Desi Sills. Keontae Johnson has his first points of the second half. His first points since the minute 58 mark.
Keontae Johnson is just a fun player to watch. I don't care what team you like. I mean, he plays the game the right way, understanding, so smart, finds a way to slide into that open area, make himself available, and then knocks it in.
Hadn't scored in over 13 minutes of game action, bridging the 2 halves together. He's up to 19. 6 to shoot for West Virginia. Mitchell, long 2. Green had solid D, but Mitchell, the rise and fire.
Now that's where West Virginia does a good job. They find some mismatches for Trey Mitchell, and that, with his skill level, he can go down to the baseline, put it on the deck, and Green, as you said, did a good job of contesting, but just not tall enough to play him on the outside.
Johnson lock and load 3, got it.
As we said, last possession, it's the right corner. This possession, it's the left wing. You better pay attention to him and stay tight, because he will, over the course of 40 minutes, find ways to score.
Noel, cookies. Noel, blocked. Johnson against Tomlin. Stevenson wide open. West Virginia by 7.
Now Jerome Tang is very upset on the sidelines. He wanted a goaltend on that last block after the Noel steal, and I'm not sure he's incorrect. It was a bang-bang play, but he had a really good angle on it.
Cam Carter called for a travel. West Virginia leads by 7. Fans are loving it here in Morgantown. Coach Eric Stevenson's up to 18 for West Virginia.
Well, he's doing it within the context of their offense. He's not forcing the issue for the most part this afternoon. He's done it off the bounce. He's spotted up in transition. In their half court, they run some misdirections, some pin downs for him, but he's doing a nice job of freeing himself up on the perimeter. He and Johnson, the backcourt, has been special, but he's also done a very good job defensively of holding his own against those terrific K-State perimeter players.
How does K-State disrupt West Virginia's offense? They're shooting 77% from the field in the second half, and all these seniors have been a big part of this second half effort.
I mean, it's just got to start with what they do. Team defense. Marquise Noel on the basketball has to disrupt, but also just staying solid. Staying solid, staying physical, and matching their toughness on the interior on the backboards.
Johnson against Noel. Stevenson has Cam Carter on it. Throws it up, left it short. Tomlin able to gather it in for K-State.
Right here, I'd like to see that maybe go inside for Keontae Johnson. He's a guy that make a post up. He's having trouble getting open on their basic sets against Emmett Matthews. Now in a switch situation, he can go against Stevenson.
An easy one for Keontae Johnson. He's up to 24, and K-State's within 5.
Well, that's a good call by Jerome Tang. You know, he knows West Virginia's been switching, so he got him in a switching situation where Johnson was guarded by Matthews.
Quick hands by Noel. Johnson recovers. Stevenson, nice pass. And a foul. That'll be on Keontae Johnson. It's his first.
Foul called on number 11, Keontae Johnson.
I would imagine Jerome Tang's going to go back to the well. And if you can get Keontae Johnson in a post-up situation with a guard on him, maybe run a side pick and roll where he rolls down to the baseline, or maybe a short roll where he can go to work in the lane.
Free throw drips in for Trey Mitchell. I noted earlier that West Virginia started 0-5 in league play. They were shooting some horrific numbers from the free throw line. Since that 0-5 start, though, as a team, they're 80% from the stripe. Quick foul called on Stevenson. That's going to be number 3 on Eric Stevenson. He has to be careful with over 9 minutes to go.
Well, that's a frustration foul a little bit, just kind of not thinking. You got the lead, you're up 7, 9 minutes to go. I mean, he's fouled out of 4 games this season. There's no reason to be up on Cam Carter that far away from the basket.
Step back 3. Johnson couldn't get it to go. Stevenson 3. It's in. His 5th trifecta. He's up to 21, and West Virginia has their largest lead of the day. Noel, the lob. Carter couldn't get it to go. Stays on this end with K-State. It's frenetic here in Morgantown.
Well, Kedrian Johnson did a terrific job not forcing the issue in transition and came down. He knew Stevenson was coming down as the trailer. That's the hardest guy to defend, especially one that can shoot with that type of range.
K-State trailed by 2 at the break. They're 9-4 this season when trailing at the half. They're known for some of these second half comebacks, and a foul underneath on West Virginia. That's the 5th team foul on the Mountaineers. Personals called on Trey Mitchell, his 2nd. Noel. Blocked. Kedrian Johnson. Stevenson relocates in the corner. Is 3, halfway down, but out. Cam Carter, quick rise. It's no good.
Well, K-State's a little sped up right now. Jerome Tang knows that he wants them to run their stuff. Some quick shots in the half court.
Is K-State settling for too many threes? They're 5 for 13 from 3. They've only made 2 two-point baskets in this half. Foul called on the outside. That'll be on Tomlin.
Kansas State foul called on number 35. Naquan Tomlin.
That's his 4th personal foul. West Virginia leads by 10 here at home.
On the floor.
Here's your chance to be part of Mountaineer Baseball. Join Coach Randy Macy and Mountaineers this season at Radford Field at Montgomery County Ballpark. Single game tickets are on sale now.
This is the final cheer for Mary Roush, the mascot for West Virginia, the Mountaineers. I snapped a picture with her earlier, and I didn't know it was senior day for her as well, so I'll go home with a souvenir. Always a tough place to play, WVU Coliseum. They've won 3 straight against K-State here at home in the series. They're 8-2 all-time against the Wildcats in the Coliseum, but Allen Fieldhouse has to be the toughest place to play in the Big 12. Is this building in the running for the second toughest?
Well, how about those fans at K-State now? They've risen to near the top. They're in the discussion now this year. They have really come out to support this fun, excellent team.
Mountaineers lead by 10. Stevenson looking to make it 13. Can't. Noel, push past Carter. Euro step. And it's rebounded by Mitchell, and a foul called on K-State's Gasson.
Been a few of those loose change fouls. That one about 75 feet away from the basket or on rebounds, or K-State just a little careless. Need to run back on defense and get their D set.
K-State's made only one of their last 7 field goals, and they haven't scored in 204. That foul is the 7th on K-State, so it puts Mitchell at the line in the 1-and-1, the near 80% foul shooter.
One issue that K-State has right now is they're not getting the rebound. They're doing okay on the glass, but they're not getting clean rebounds. And if they can get some clean rebounds, they can get out to Noel and get out in transition. You know, they're having to run a lot of half-court offense. West Virginia's defense has been good. Their size has bothered them in the half-court. So they've got to do a better job of getting up on the glass, getting clean rebounds, and trying to get out in transition.
Mitchell goes 1 for 2. West Virginia has their largest lead. It's 11. Mountaineers trying to get off the bubble. They'd be a lock with a win. K-State currently projected as a 2 seed according to Joey Brackett's. A kick. Wildcats will have it with what should be 20 to shoot.
K-State spacing a little disjointed on that possession. They need to space the floor a little bit more to give Noel more ample opportunity to get into that gap.
Noel with 10 to shoot. Noel pulls back. His 3 is good. His 4th 3 of the game.
Well, if he can't find space, he just backs up. Finds his own space out in the middle of the floor.
Gets caught with his hand in the cookie jar, a reach-in foul. That's his 2nd.
Number 1, Marquise Noel. The 2nd, team foul number 8.
It'll put Kedrian Johnson at the line, who's an 82% shooter.
Number 35, Naquan Tomlin.
So K-State trying to garner a little momentum after that tough 3, and then Noel does that. He fouls Johnson 40 feet from the basket, puts him on the line.
1-and-1.
West Virginia 11 of 13 for the game, 85%. Johnson will get the back end. What do you like about his effort today? He's up to 16 points, also has 6 assists.
I mean, it's not for the faint of heart to go up against Marquise Noel for 40 minutes, and Kedrian Johnson has pretty much answered the call. It's been a great battle. It's 2 really good players. Noel keeps coming at you. You cannot relax for a second on either end when you're matched up against him.
Kedrian Johnson will inspect Noel. Tomlin tracks it down. Noel off the heel. Tomlin up high for it. Noel dashes, throws it up and in.
Well, I think Kedrian Johnson on that first missed shot, something happened. He was popped his eye. I don't know if he lost his contact. He motioned to the bench, and I think he's going to have to come out of the game for a second and either fix his contact or find his contact or get something fixed in his eye.
What do you think about this move by Coach Tang? K-State's in his zone.
Well, they got to do something to slow down West Virginia, and what they're doing, they're getting the ball in the lane, they're driving and kicking, they're in a rhythm, so I think it's a great move.
Tyke Green out of control, lost it. West Virginia has numbers. Johnson, foul on Noel, that'll be his third.
He's still poking at that eye, but that didn't prevent him from putting his head down and attacking. Combination of speed, quickness, strength, and toughness. Kedron Johnson.
Coach Tang having a visit with his star point guard, Marquise Noel. 17 of Coach Tang's 18 point guards at Baylor when he was an assistant were all league in some way.
I love what Jerome Tang has done with Marquise Noel. He's given him the green light, and a player like him you have to, because you have to trust him. He's so smart. He's so creative with the basketball. He can shoot from deep range. He plays his heart out on defense, but you can't give him too much. You got to let him kind of be a coach on the floor.
He eats, he sleeps, and he breathes basketball. He really took it upon himself this offseason to get with this coaching staff and focus on his diet and his sleeping patterns, and it's translated to a whole lot more on the floor. Noel has it. His team down by 10 after the Johnson free throws. Noel, runner, short. Stevenson leaking out. Toussaint. Up and under will fall. And West Virginia's lead is a dozen.
You don't even understand the degree of difficulty that was. Marquise Noel was coming at him from the side, from behind, 100 miles an hour to prevent that, and he went to the other side of the rim.
Air bank from Keontae Johnson. Toussaint in the open floor. Matthews, he's fouled.
Now this is end-to-end action at its best at 100 miles an hour plus, and West Virginia is doing a good job securing the rebound on the glass and then pushing it up the court before K-State can get set.
Kevin Matthews with 2 shots.
Joe Toussaint had a huge game against Iowa State with 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. Just came up with a big basket moments ago, and now it's Emmett Matthews Jr. at the line with that free throw. He has 19 on senior day.
Well, Joe Toussaint's so valuable this afternoon because Bob Huggins can lean on him and give Kedron Johnson some much needed rest. He's been chasing Marquise Noel around this building all afternoon.
Matthews Jr. just tied his season high. He's got 20. K-State in a lot of trouble, down 14. Noel draws the whistle. Jimmy Bell Jr. commits the foul, and Noel, who has not attempted a single free throw. In fact, K-State for the game just 5 for 6 from the line. West Virginia 17 of 19.
If I'm Jerome Tang, I go right back to that. Go to that until West Virginia shows that they can stop that, and they're not going to be able to stop it if they're going to switch the 1 and the 5. And that time Bell got caught on the switch guarding Noel, which he cannot do at all. They're going to have to maybe adjust if K-State keeps going back to that middle ball screen.
A rare miss for the 90% foul shooter. These are his first free throws of the game. Timeout Kansas State, down by 13 with right at 5 minutes left.
All by Kansas State. That's a full timeout.
Take a timeout. West Virginia on top by 13. Trying to get a senior day win in front of a sellout crowd. West Virginia leads by 13. The Mountaineers, who started 0-5 in league play, 6-4 since, trying to get off the bubble. They're currently part of Joe Lunardi's last 4 byes. They went 4-4 in the #1 conference in America in February. If West Virginia ends up with a dub here, they'll be 7-11 in league play. It'll be their 18th win overall. There's Joe's last 4 in and the first 4 out. And all of a sudden, Oklahoma State has found themselves on the bubble after dropping 5 straight. And Oklahoma State has a tough one tonight at Texas Tech.
There's so many teams that look alike, and you watch them, and it's really going to come down to today and next week. And Usually the committee, I don't think, puts a lot of emphasis on the conference tournaments, but I think this year they're going to have to pay attention to it right up to the championship games of these tournaments, because I don't know how you pick apart some of these teams. And West Virginia, in my opinion, should be in really good shape. Well, if they win today, a lock, but they're a good basketball team. We've seen it all afternoon today, and they're improving. They're playing with a lot of confidence. And this K-State team, we know, is elite. And today they've missed Desi Sills, a big part of their rotation and a key starter for them. But they played hard. West Virginia just played better to this point.
Sills, the K-State guard, attending the funeral of a family member, so not available here today. Didn't make the trip. West Virginia leads by 13. Tapped out of bounds with 6 to shoot. Mountaineers are 23rd in the NCAA net rankings. They're 19th in KenPom. Stevenson all the way to the rack.
Now that was created by West Virginia doing a nice job of spacing the floor on the weak side. Allowed Stevenson just that easy opportunity down the middle of the floor.
15-point lead. Noel, a 3. It's through.
West Virginia better not relax on Marquise Noel. He'll just go get his if you're going to back up on him.
K-State's hit 7 threes in the second half, but they're just 3 for 13 inside the arc. 9 to shoot. Toussaint fumbles. Has Massoud on him. Throws it up off balance. Collision, no whistle. Here comes Noel. Another 3. Too long. Massoud trying to throw it off Toussaint. It'll stay with K-State on this end.
There's a timeout.
Our last media timeout with 3.5 to go. West Virginia leads by 12. West Virginia leads by a dozen with 3.5 to go with Tim Welsh. I'm James Westling, and during the break, Michael Hager. They didn't pass the torch, they passed the musket. He's going to be your 2023-24 Mountaineer mascot. You think he'll do a pretty good job?
A lot of pressure. He looks the part. He looks focused. He's got the locks.
He's
cooking.
locked in.
Never change.
He's the man. That is a Mountaineer through and through. All right, West Virginia leads by 12, 3:27 to go. How does West Virginia put this game on ice?
Well, they've got to stay focused on the defensive end, and for the most part this afternoon, they've done a much better job, defending in half court, especially around the rim and at the paint. And K-State struggled to score, inside the three-point line, and you got to make sure they paid attention to Noel and stay locked in on him, not only from the three-point line, but on the ball screen action in the middle of the floor.
Keontae Johnson and Marquise Noel have 24 and 18 respectively, but nobody else with more than 8 for K-State. Cam Carter has 8. Tomlin's been quiet and bothered by fouls. He's got 6. Stevenson up high to rip it down.
That was a pretty good look by Keontae Johnson. Just contested and one and done, and West Virginia's doing a better job in this half, running their stuff in the half court against this pressure.
Stevenson jump pass. Up and under is through. 25 for Eric Stevenson on senior day.
What patience by West Virginia. Just doing a terrific job of spacing the floor, reversing the ball, waiting for K-State to even make the smallest of mistakes on defense, and then taking advantage.
Noel's fouled on the other end.
Team foul number 7.
Looked like he was going to force one there, but he waited, and then just drove on the baseline, and the presence of mind to go to the other side of the rim.
Known for his outside shooting. Seen his game in a variety of ways here today. missed 2 free throws here in the last 5 minutes.
Well, Stevenson's an emotional player, and he's playing at a high level of emotion today, but it's been a controlled emotion, and Bob Huggins has been working with him on that, and it certainly has paid off this afternoon.
Coach Huggins said that him and Stevenson are very close. They've had a lot of chats this season, one-on-one. Stevenson, the alley-oop lob, tap back, and the finish.
Well, that's like the old give and go Bob Huggins used to run at Walsh College, but it looks a little different on that possession. But right now, West Virginia's got everything going in a perfect rhythm and on offense.
Not exactly how they drew it up. Team foul number 8 called on West Virginia. That one's on Mitchell again. That's his 4th. Noel 2 for 4 from the foul line. Has 20 points, but it took 19 shots to get there.
Well, someone's going to have a shock to their system when they play this K-State team in the NCAA tournament, because you know, these two teams and every team in this conference has gone through the rigors of the toughest conference in 20 years, the best conference in 20 years. So I don't think anybody will be complaining after next weekend in Kansas City that they have to face different opponents. But you better be aware when you play this K-State team, they are real good.
Noel didn't score in the first half. He's up to 21. It's out of bounds, and there will be a foul called. Beg your pardon, it was just a deflection. But you talk about this league and the balance. Iowa State goes at Baylor, their first game without star guard Caleb Grill, who parted ways with the team this week, and they win by 15. Oklahoma's up by 17 at the half over TCU and Norman. West Virginia trying to close the door on a win over a top 15 team. Carter with the dead eye. Gets it down to 10 for K-State with 2 and change left.
No, this is what Jerome Tang has instilled in this basketball team. There is absolutely no quit. They're coming at West Virginia right to the last buzzer.
Eric Stevenson, he's been a walking fireball in the second half.
Well, kind of had to get used to the pressure of K-State. They haven't played in a long time. They opened the league with them, so the first flurry of defense kind of put West Virginia back on their heels. They got behind 11-3, but once they got settled in the half court, they did a really good job of moving the ball, finding the open man, and Stevenson scored in an array of different ways and just showed today what type of special guard he can be when he's on.
27. He's hit 5 threes. 8th in the Big 12 in scoring coming in, but in his last 4, averaging 24 points per game. That's before today's showing. This West Virginia team, for West Virginia to make a run, not just in the Big 12 tournament, but in the NCAA tournament. I mean, if they're a 9 or a 10 seed and you're one of those higher seeds, wouldn't be fun playing this team.
No, and again, I don't think anybody's going to want to play anybody from this conference. I mean, these teams, once they get released next weekend in Kansas City to the rest of America, I think the Big 12 is going to have a good showing, and K-State is in that group as well. And you start with Marquise Noel and Keontae Johnson, and then terrific coaching by Jerome Tang, and just really good team basketball, very good defense, interchangeable parts. They'll get Desi Sills back, hopefully, for them. They are going to be, I think, a second weekend team for sure.
K-State's missing around 10 points per game with Desi Sills out. He had started the last 4. Sills was coming off an near triple-double with 15 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists against Oklahoma. For just joining us, he's attending a funeral of a family member. Didn't travel with the team. K-State commits a foul with 12 to shoot. Long way from the cup. Tomlin, some confusion, and that's the 5th. On Naquan Tomlin, who only took 3 shots, he finishes with 6 points. He was in foul trouble all day.
Well, Jerome Tang's upset at Tomlin because I don't think he wanted a foul right there. I mean, West Virginia was clearly running out the clock. It was down to 12 on the shot clock. So at that point, you play it out and play defense, you don't put him on the line.
K-State will bring in Tyke Hughes. Green has the dead ball.
It's a teaching moment, and he's telling Tomlin that right now. He said, at that point, you have to understand time and score, where you are on the shot clock. And it's a teaching moment, and it's one of the best teachers in the country in his first year.
E.D. Johnson shooting 2.
One of the top 3 or 4 in the country, in line for National Coach of the Year.
Naquan Tomlin, you know his story. He's only been playing organized basketball for about 4 years. Spent 3 years in the JUCO ranks, including a redshirt year. But NBA scouts are drooling over this guy at 6'10" and the way he can handle the ball. West Virginia by a dozen. Pocket pass, Gasson lays it home, and it's down to 10 again with 97 seconds and counting.
Well, Bob Huggins not happy on that one. That was way too easy against a team that should be just getting back and setting their defense.
West Virginia with their most points in this one since their 93-61 win over Oklahoma back on February 4th.
Jerome Tang again upset at Carter this time. He does not want to play the foul game, and clearly when Tomlin fouled out, he brought his team over and told them that, and then they come down the floor and Carter fouls.
Second foul issued to Cam Carter, puts Toussaint at the line.
2 shots.
Jerome Tang's telling Marquise Noel, he said, if I want you guys to foul, I'll tell you.
Free throw, spits out. Three Mountaineers with 20 or more points. Stevenson with 27, 21 from Kedrian Johnson, and Matthews with 20 as Tang continues to lace into his bench. Telling his guys got to go, down 11. Noel. Offensive foul. Fourth foul issued to Marquise Noel.
Offensive foul.
I thought it was a pretty good play by Noel. It looked like he jump stopped and was under control, but Toussaint just stepped up and he kind of went forward. That's a good call. He did not come to that jump stop that you'd like your point guard to do in the lane, but right idea, wrong execution.
West Virginia by 11. Kedrian Johnson 1 point shy of a career high. He's got 21 today.
1 minute. 1 minute to play.
Stevenson, 3 is wide left. Cam Carter pushing for K-State. And a steal. Toussaint ahead of the pack. Missed it. Scrum. Out of bounds to K-State.
Well, Toussaint was going so fast to the rim that he just took his eye off the rim or jumped a little bit too soon, and then the fumble in the end zone.
Here's Noel, gets a clean look, and it's down. His 6th three, he has 24 points. 20 seconds left. Out of bounds to Kansas State with 18.5 to go. It's a 3-possession lead for West Virginia.
Marquise Noel just trying to single-handedly keep his team alive. We're going to look at this little review. Noel was scoreless in the first half, so it just tells you what a great second half he's had, but too much West Virginia offense to overcome.
West Virginia, they don't have any field goals in the last 2:22, but they still lead by 8. Kansas State led most of the first half, but West Virginia grabbed the lead in the closing seconds, 39-37, going into the locker room. In the second half, they've outscored Kansas State 48-42, and as a team, West Virginia shooting 51% from the floor. Stevenson with 27, Kedrian Johnson with 21, Emmett Matthews Jr. with 20. And here's what our officiating crew's looking at. Did Gasson touch it? Adrian Johnson definitely got a piece. Maybe checking the clock as well.
They might be just getting a little breather, James.
Been a lot of up and down in the second half.
The officials have to stay on their toes. No subbing for the officials, so sometimes you can just take a quick blow or a long one.
West Virginia coach Bob Huggins told us at shoot-around that his team has been inconsistent, but they've gotten better defensively at staying in front of their man. Here's one more look, and it didn't touch Gasson.
It was a quick review by you.
I'm ready to get the action. Let's get back to the action.
You asked Bob Huggins for 3 words to describe his team, and he said inconsistent. I said, whoa. Bob, you were a scholar athlete here at West Virginia. He said, well, cut that into 3 words.
Yeah. He said, figure out 3 different ways to say inconsistent. That's us.
Well, they were not inconsistent today. They were tough. And at first, they got a body blow early from a real good basketball team and a tough team, but they answered the challenge. And that just shows how good this West Virginia team could be. And I've said this from the get-go on most of these teams in the Big 12 are going to be in the NCAA tournament. I think they all have that ability to get to the second weekend.
Adrian Johnson with 21. If he hits this free throw, he will tie a career high, 22 points. He can eclipse that with this last one. But when you look at West Virginia's overall Big 12 record, with the win, they'll finish the regular season 7-11. You have to keep in mind they started 0-5. And during those 5 losses, Coach Huggins told us about midway through the Big 12 slate that they were really beat up. They didn't have guys missing extended contests, but they were missing a guy or two just about every night here and there.
Well, they've come together too. They have a lot of new pieces this year, as most teams do, as K-State does. Nobody has a lot more new pieces than them, but sometimes it takes teams longer than others to get yourself right, and they did in one of the best conferences in college basketball. But K-State, you'll hear from them again, there's no doubt.
West Virginia picks up their 6th Quad 1 win in front of a sellout crowd on Senior Day. Our final score, West Virginia 89, Kansas State 81. The Mountaineers get to 7-11 in Big 12 play. For Tim Welsh and our entire crew, I'm James Wesley saying so long from Morgantown, West Virginia. 89-81, our final in favor of the Mountaineers. All events airing on ESPN Plus are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.